I'm Lisa Evers, and this is Street Soldiers.
Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
Podcasts are exploding in popularity. Now urban podcasts are bringing the world real and raw stories that have never been told. The Drink Champs podcast, hosted by Nori and DJ Effin, became so big it was turned into a slick TV show on Revolt.
Let's start this audio adventure, man.
The Joe Budden podcast has so many fans, he sometimes does it before theater audiences. It airs across multiple platforms. Now an upstart podcast, FDS for Flip the Script, co-hosted by social media influencer QueenzFlip and DJ G Money, is soaring into the six-figure views stratosphere without any gimmicks or glitz.
G Money!
Yo.
What's up, man? How you doing, man?
It was good.
We're go-getters. You know, we go, we see, we have a goal, we focus on it, and we accomplish our goals.
Now we kind of got the structure down packed, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a lot that goes into it. And then behind the scenes, there's a lot of editing, there's a lot of, a lot of late nights, early mornings.
The FDS podcast generated major buzz with untold stories of New York's notorious jail and gang culture of the 1990s. Interviews with OGs like S.O.U.L B and 9 Trey Bloods founder Killer Kev underscored their violent past and their transformation into positive change agents today.
My rep is already solidified from the can to the land, so that ain't something I had to glorify.
It's not my intentions to tell a story and glorify it. This is the pain, the blood, the sweat, and the tears that I was going through, and they felt it.
Let's dig deeper into this hot new trend with our panel. Joining me for this episode of Street Soldiers is QueenzFlip. He's the co-host of the Flip the Script podcast. It's on all platforms, YouTube, iTunes, all kinds of platforms, and he's also a well-known social media influencer. QueenzFlip, great to have you back on the show.
What's going on, Lisa? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, you know it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Also with us is S.O.U.L B. He was formerly incarcerated. He came home in June of 2019 after being behind bars for a total of 32 years. He has his own podcast now with his wife called Hustle and Love, and he is one of the most popular guests that they have had on the Flip the Script podcast. So it'll be great to have you with us.
Great to have you with me, Lisa.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, ma'am.
We appreciate it. Can't wait to hear your stories.
Yes.
Thank you. Also with us is DJ G Money. He's the co-host with QueenzFlip of the Flip the Script podcast. He's been DJing for 20 years for all occasions all around the world. DJ G Money, thank you so much for being with us.
Appreciate you.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Also with us is Kevin Killer Kev Davis. He is from Brownsville, from the Brownsville houses in Brooklyn, where we did our Street Soldiers Town Hall on education, and with Papoose and a number of other people. He's formerly incarcerated, did 15 years for murder. He is now, and has been for many years, an advocate for at-risk youth, trying to get them to save their lives before it's too late. Kev, great to have you with us.
Appreciate you, Lisa.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. QueenzFlip, how did you get the idea? Because, I mean, you are one of the most popular people on social media in terms of urban influencers. What gave you the idea for Flip the Script?
I didn't want to do a podcast at first. And then G Money, along with a former partner of ours, came to me. And actually, G Money came to me and was trying to get me to do it. I told him, no, I'm just focused on the pranks and what I was doing because, I was terrorizing the city.
Right.
And I didn't feel like speaking. But, one thing led to another, and then we're here. The podcast took off. Even though we got kicked out the building after the first episode, we got kicked out. But that's another story.
So how many episodes do you have now so far?
119.
Wow. Are you surprised by how fast it's taken off?
Yeah. I'm surprised how fast it's taken off. We always had a following. As I said, we was going
on social media, right?
Yeah, we was going the Howard Stern route,
right?
And doing crazy
shock
stuff.
jock type of pranks.
Yes. And we got banned from the engine room. We're no longer welcome in that building.
Which is where a lot of podcasts are recorded.
Yes.
Right.
And it just took off with these guys. It was a surprise because it manifested into something completely different,
much bigger. And we're going to talk about that. DJ G Money, why did you want to do a podcast? Because you travel, you do a lot of big events, you have a very successful career DJing and also with music production and in the music business. Why do a podcast? Because it's very time consuming.
Right. So I was doing like a lot of online radio shows before this, and then my former host Steph Lover, who was part of DCF Radio at the time, she had another engagement that she had. So once she left, a lot of people kept telling me, you should try to do something different, look into podcasts, stuff like that. So I told him about the idea, and then like he said, he was kind of opposed to it at first. I didn't want to do the online radio show anymore. I wanted to do something different, and so I reached out to him, spoke to him about it, and then we just kind of, formed the idea, formed the team, and made it happen.
And then how did you get the idea to focus on people that had really intense stories?
Like
Especially
you said,
from the streets.
Like you said, we want to do something different. We didn't want to do the regular interview, the artists, up-and-coming artists type thing. We wanted to go a different route. So, our first couple of shows were really, really different, where we interviewed people from scammers to people who've been raped to people in the streets of New York City who are outside and just kind of dancing in the street, hustling, doing their thing. And up until now, we got to the OGs and started to hear their story.
Here and people are fascinated, and these have been some of your biggest episodes.
Yeah.
With these two gentlemen.
Yeah, well, like I said, thanks to Bimmy.
Shout out to fan Bimmy.
Bimmy, he did the Supreme Team story on the platform, and there was some discrepancies. And in order for me to take down the footage that wanted to be taken down, because I guess whatever call that transpired, he made a deal with me to give me, to have me interview S.O.U.L, and then I met S.O.U.L
to make the introductions.
Yeah, he introduced at the house, and shout out to Bimmy, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't meet him. And then S.O.U.L captivated, and then from there, Killer Kev got in contact, and it was just.
It just took off. S.O.U.L, what did you think when you got that? Because you've been home for less than a year, and been away for a very long time. Yeah. So. What did you think when you were invited to go on this podcast?
Well,
why did you want to do it? Because a lot of guys might not want to talk and be so open.
What
about
happened
what they
was,
go through.
as I tell everybody, this wasn't nothing planned, because when I came out, I had my own plans. So,
And what were those plans?
My plans, I'm an author.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, along with my wife, author Isha J. So we went over to Bimmy's family of mine. So we went over to Bimmy crib, because he just did the interview. And Flip just happened to come over. So we talking, we drinking. So Bim already told him, yo, gotta get my family, man. I'm telling you, yo. So we start talking, and I'm just a natural. Once I feel comfortable around you, and
then it started from there. Let me just bring in Killer Kev real quick, because we're running out of time for this segment. But Kevin, and how did you get involved in it? And why did you want to do this?
Well, because I saw S.O.U.L. I saw S.O.U.L on the podcast, and what happened was, I'm gonna take you real fast, that I started getting phone calls from everybody saying, yo, S.O.U.L the big homie. What about you? I said, who's S.O.U.L? He is the big homie, but that's my boy. He forgetting me, all right? So I made the little homies call Flip, because I don't know nothing about podcasts or YouTube, and they got in touch with Flip. It's like, yo, K want to talk to you. Tell him that B.O. want to see. He want to see B.O. and boom. So then Flip with the B.O. So Killer Kev. He said, oh yeah.
So it's like a lot of behind the scenes drama.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of behind the scenes drama. On that, we'll be back with Street Soldiers right after this. Yeah. This is the first time right now that you've seen each other in 21 years since the riot in Attica.
Yeah.
Right in Attica.
98.
Yeah.
So I want to say.
Wow. Killer Kev, I want to start with you on this. How did you end up, you're from Brownsville, right. Never ran, never will, from the Brownsville houses.
Right.
How did you end up, how young were you when you first started to cross that line and get into a little bit of trouble?
I was maybe about, 12 to 13 years old, and it started because I started boxing, but I still was in the street. So, things of that nature led to a lot of my street fights, and then it escalated to, knives and then guns and then shooting, things of that nature. And then I wound up, unfortunately being arrested for a homicide, and a short time after that, I later learned that I made the front cover of a book called S.O.U.L, Cops and Kids in Urban America in 1993. It came out. And, during my incarceration, I continued to, reign supreme. I say reign supreme, you heard,
right.
As far as, and then, I became one of the original members of the Blood, Nontre Bloods. I was one of the pioneers who started the Bloods in '93. But, and then on after that, during my, my reign. I went to war with the, the COs in Attica. I started that. Actually, I started the war in Attica. So B was there with me. You know what I'm saying?
What made you decide in 2005, after you've been away for so long and gone through all of this trauma and all of this violence, what made you decide that you wanted to just never go back?
But it's not the point that I don't think it's a point that I made to not to go back. It's just that I'm very more strategic about things that I do, you know what I'm saying, to prevent from going back. It's kind of hard to explain. Just like somebody asked me, I did a seminar at John Jay College School of Criminal Justice, right?
Right.
And they asked me, why did you went to prison for a homicide, but you continue to be hostile when you went to prison? And I said, I'm going to tell you something about being hostile when you're in prison. It was a reverse psychology thing that I used, because if I felt that I was too comfortable to be in jail to become a modern inmate, then my chances of coming back is going to be more greater for me not to come back.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
You sure?
So you said there was, yeah, because you
Right.
said in terms of survival, in terms of your
Right.
attitude. So you've been home for less than a year.
Yes.
Well, you're away for years and years and years and years, right? Was your wife with you throughout your incarceration, or did you get married after you came out?
After I came out.
After you came out.
Yeah,
So,
proposed to her.
all right. So what were some of the shocks for you? Like where did you come home from? You had an assault charge, 25 years on an assault?
Yes.
With a gun though, right?
Yes.
So that's a shooting.
Yes.
That's what they classify.
Yes.
I'm just explaining to people that don't understand how they classify these things.
Yes.
You shoot somebody but don't kill them, it's considered assault.
Paralyze them, from the neck down. Yes, it's worse than a murder, because, it's like you can't escape it. You feel what I'm saying?
It can't get
yes,
bargained
so
down to like a
instead
manslaughter.
of just the actual 25, you get 12 and a half to 25.
Right. So where did you come home from? What were you? What was the
I
last?
came home from Eastern Correctional Facility.
Isn't that one of the worst?
No, Eastern is one of the softest.
It is one of the softest.
But I came out of the special housing unit after 15 years. So out of the 25 years, I did 15 years in punitive segregation for an incident that happened during the time he was doing the 15 years. We were all involved in an incident that happened in
So you
Attica
knew each
Correctional.
other?
Of course.
Right.
Since he was a kid, I watched him come in.
Okay.
Facts.
You feel me? And
Right.
that incident led the both of us to be high security risk.
Facts.
But with me more so at that time as the organizer and the initiator.
The quote unquote big homie of all the big homies.
Yes.
So
at
you
that
say
time.
that you're the one that really started this whole thing.
No, that's not meaning that I started this.
What is big homie of all the big homies?
the big
mean?
homie means that Kev is a big homie, right?
Okay.
In the gang culture.
Okay.
I knew Kev since he came in as a kid, so I was a big bro to him. Then when I came into the Bloods, I became a big homie. So because these are my little homies outside of it, I said I'm the big homie of the real big homies.
Flip, when you hear these, when you are in that room doing the podcast with G Money and you hear these stories, what goes through your mind? Because around New York, there's all kinds of stories, guys bragging and talking about this, that things that they didn't do, that they were the baddest of the bad, and these guys would just seem so authentic.
I mean, initially, it's like, yeah, right.
Right.
And then when you get the call from a lot of people that co-sign the stories, and
Right.
it makes you look at things from a whole different perspective. Once again, I would like to acknowledge that these two men haven't seen each other in about 21 years. Today is the first time that they've seen each other in
Yes.
21 years.
This is the first time right now that you've seen each other in 21 years? Since the riot in Attica?
Yes.
Right in
98,
Attica.
right?
98.
98.
Yeah. So I want to say
Some of
that.
them-
Wow.
Yeah, it's the first time.
Yeah,
Oh, my
first time.
gosh.
Yes, I told you.
Another
Something
Street
special,
Soldiers
Lisa.
history.
Something special. Lisa.
Very
Yes,
special.
yes.
Very special. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Where were we? That was pretty intense. But the thing that struck me is listening to them speaking was it was just like straight reporting. Like they're telling their story, and as incredible as a lot of it was to me, and I'm sure so many of the hundreds of thousands of people that have come to know you both because of the Flip the Script podcast, it's very real. It's not like these guys on the street that are bragging about, yeah, I did this or I did that, and meantime they're, not that that's something to be proud of, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
What did you think about that?
I mean, you got to remember, these guys are older. These are considered the OGs. So
Right.
a lot of the OGs, you talk to your uncle and your family members, they can have you there paying attention because the story is so captivating, the emotion, the energy that they put into it. And these two gentlemen did the same thing.
Right.
Sitting behind the desk, like I said initially, it was right, but then listen, they pulled me in. They let you vision their story and they let you feel the pain that they go through because of such the emotion that they convey to me and the audience.
So you told Flip and you told G Money on the Flip the Script podcast, on the podcast, you said it was more like in your view, it was like more of a self-defense type of thing. It was more of a brotherhood type of thing of like, we got to be organized, we got to have some kind of structure, because this is just complete, like Kev said, it's just complete mayhem. Every time you walk, every time you're out of your cell, you just don't know what could happen. You could be having a visit, and then something happens. It just sounded like stuff could just pop off at any time.
You're absolutely. So
Absolutely.
what Kev said, so what we did, we counted. Okay, you want to instill fear? We gonna feel triple fear.
Exactly.
So what would you do? Like, what was the thing?
The
Extended
triple
fear.
fear. I mean, well, I'm gonna tell because I was older than a lot of, the
Right.
younger brothers, so I wouldn't do anything randomly. But like for instance, what I'll do, I'll go in a Latin King Nayeta house, I play possum, then say they watching TV, I'll stab the whole day room. Randomly.
Just randomly.
Surprise.
Like just a surprise attack and go in there like that.
and
you actually did that.
Yes. And then I would scream, blood up,
That's fact.
and I'm out.
That's a
And that
fact.
was it. And that's how it went down. And so where were the correction officers at
They
this
were
time?
there. They were feared for their lives.
They didn't do anything. Because
After the
what
fact,
are they gonna do? Because
what are they gonna do? They see you with a knife looking like Jason.
so
and
but
you
that
just
drooling from the mouth.
the what?
Yeah.
looking like a
Drooling.
mad dog.
So how did you get what did you use to how did you get weapons in? What did you use to stab people with?
Well, technically, you being in prison, being a vet, you can make a weapon out of everything. Fiberglass. You can use a shoestring
Mop
to
bringers.
cut.
A shank, what they
nylon
call a shank?
shoestring to cut straight pieces of thick fiberglass. Well, I mean, you're innovative. You're ingenious when you're under the circumstances. So your ingenuity comes into about when you're at war. So I can be in a cell. I'm looking at anything that could be a weapon because I know it's not going to be a one-on-one. It's going to be a 5, a 10-on-1, and I know they have weapons.
And you're listening to you saying this. It's like, so you're basically like, we're in Afghanistan in the middle of some
Technically,
crazy
yes.
war where it could be coming at us from.
And you
There's
don't,
no
little
rules.
kid, you don't know who.
That's a fact.
So the state of mind that we had to develop at that
It
time
was pure survival.
because remember at that beginning state we were the minority. So it was like
The
10,
blacks were the minority on
yes, it
Rikers
was
Island.
like 10. Every 10 of them is one of us.
So it was mostly Latino,
Yes.
mostly Puerto Rican at that point, right? Or
Well,
some Dominican.
Puerto Rican, yeah, because the Latinos, they said they excluded us when they said you have to have some type of Latin descent in order to be a part. So automatically it excluded us from joining.
From being a part of it. All right, we're going to continue with this conversation. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be right back. I want to thank you guys for being with us so much. QueenzFlip, thank you so much
You're welcome,
for
Lisa.
really bringing everything together and getting these stories out there. Thank you so
Love you,
much.
QueenzFlip.
We appreciate
you,
it.
thank you.
I love you,
Solby,
man. I
Solby,
love
thank
you,
you so
G-Money.
much for.
Yes, man.
Thank you
You
so
ain't
much
fool
for.
no more.
I ain't fool no more.
Solby, thank you so much for. I know it's love is love. Solby, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and being with us. We really appreciate it.
you.
We really
Anytime,
do.
Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah.
DJ G Money, thank you so much for being with us,
Pleasure being
helping
here.
us get this whole thing together here. And Killer Kev, great to
Yes.
have you on the show. Thank you so much. We
Fascinating.
really appreciate it. And thank you for joining me for this episode of Street Soldiers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. Let's push for peace.